Daniel Sports Central will be giving you guys my NFL playoff predictions for this 2021 through 22 NFL season. And it all comes down to this. 14 teams, only one will be your Super Bowl champion. I'll be giving you guys my full NFL playoff predictions for this season here today. Let's go and get started with your wild card round, looking at the AFC. Starting at the top, Chiefs and Steelers, 2 versus 7 game. That's going to be quite a matchup there. Pittsburgh barely sneaking into the playoffs. And that's only because, of course, the Raiders and the Chargers game, that was an insane matchup to say the least to finish up the regular season. That game did not end in a tie, so that gives Pittsburgh an opportunity to make another run at the playoffs, and Big Ben is not quite done yet with the Steelers. That's going to be a tough one, though. I mean, Kansas City is a very good football team. They've got an incredible amount of experience in the playoffs, and we've seen them in the past 2 Super Bowls. So, yeah, Chiefs, they're going to be a tough out there. Bills and Patriots, interesting AFC East battle there. A divisional matchup between the Bills and Patriots, and of course you got Patriots, Bill Belichick. Hard to go against them, but then again, Buffalo has been the better team this football season. Of course, you got Josh Allen, who's this team has actually been playing pretty well. They got a 4-game winning streak heading into the playoffs, so Bills definitely a team to watch out for. We also got Cincinnati. They're in the playoffs as the 4th seed, and they've got a legit chance, by the way, to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's insane. Seeing where Cincinnati's been the past couple of seasons, and here they are in the playoffs. And I mean, Joe Burrow, he's for real. That is a very good football team there with the Bengals, and they're facing off against the Raiders. Not Oakland, Las Vegas. They beat Los Angeles, the Chargers, to get into that position at the 5 seed, and they got to travel to Cincinnati to play a good football team there. Looking at the NFC, we got Buccaneers and Eagles. Many would say that Tampa has got a good chance to blow out the Eagles in that matchup, but Tom Brady, of course, and the injuries on that football team. I mean, Tom Brady's an excellent quarterback, and you can never doubt him in the playoffs, that's for sure. But all the injuries that the Bucs have had this season, especially heading into the postseason here, it's definitely concerning for them. We also got Cowboys and 49ers. San Francisco barely gets into the playoffs. It was either 49ers or Saints, and San Francisco ended up beating the Rams, bringing them into a position to be at number 6. We also got Rams and Cardinals. Los Angeles at number 4 and Arizona at number 5. Cardinals, of course, were the hot team in the first couple months of the season, but they have since cooled off a bit in the past couple of months of action. With that said, let's get to the predictions now. Looking at the AFC wildcard matchups, here's what I got. I got Kansas City over Pittsburgh, and that's a tough one to predict for a few reasons. I mean, Big Ben, of course, being back in Pittsburgh, I mean, they're going to be highly motivated in that matchup, certainly. There's no doubt about that. But Kansas City, having as much experience as they do in the playoffs, got to go with the Chiefs here. I mean, that's a team that's been in 2 straight Super Bowls, so they're going to be ready to go. And I mean, the Chiefs, they're going to be a tough out no matter who they play in this postseason, so definitely keep an eye on them. But we also got Buffalo, New England. This was a tough one to predict here. I mean, there were 2 really tough games to predict, I would say, in the wild card, and that was those 2 games were Bills and Patriots, and then Cowboys and 49ers. And we'll get to the NFC in just a second. But Bills and Patriots, I'm going to go Buffalo here. And this is an incredibly tough one. I mean, Bill Belichick, we've learned multiple times not to doubt him or go against him. But in this game, I'm going to have to. I mean, Josh Allen and the way that he's played and the amount of talent that he's got. I mean, Mac Jones, he's a phenomenal quarterback as well, but he's still a rookie. And I feel like Mac Jones and Bill Belichick, that Patriots team, has got a very bright future. But this season, I just feel like Mac Jones down the stretch, I mean, he's played okay, but I mean, this Patriots team in general has kind of fallen off a little bit down the stretch ever since their bye week. I mean, this team went on a huge run in the middle of the season, and they won several games in a row, but Patriots since have cooled off a bit, and I just don't feel like the Patriots are going to be suited for a deep playoff run here. But I mean, that's a tough one to predict. I could easily see the Patriots knocking off the Bills, but I'm going to go Buffalo in that game. Once again, tough one. Bengals and Raiders, I'm pretty confident that Cincinnati gets the win there. I mean, Bengals at times have been a bit inconsistent, but so has Las Vegas. I mean, the Raiders, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, no one could have dreamed that we would see the Raiders at number 5 in the playoffs right now, but here we are, and Raiders are in it, and they're going to be motivated, certainly. I mean, this is a huge opportunity for the Raiders and Derek Carr and that entire football team, but I'm going to go with the Bengals. Joe Burrow, really like him as a quarterback, and actually for the Bengals being at the 4 seed, this is huge for them. I mean, if you look at Bills and, of course, you got Chiefs as well. I mean, if the Chiefs and the Bills both win, this is perfect for Cincinnati because, I mean, playing the Titans, I would much rather play Tennessee than, say, Kansas City or Buffalo or, if it comes down to it. I'd even rather play Tennessee over New England if I'm being totally honest with you. I just feel like the Titans are a good football team. They're 12-5, but Ryan Tannehill, I'm not sure that I mean, especially Derrick Henry, if they can get him back, Titans are a legit threat. But I mean, I just don't know if he's going to be 100% ready to go for the playoffs. But looking at the NFC here, some matchups here, I'm going to go with Buccaneers over Eagles. I mean, that's a very easy one. I just feel like Bucs and Tom Brady, I can imagine they lose to Philly in the first round. But I mean, it's possible with the amount of injuries that the Bucs do have. But I feel like Tom Brady can't go against him. I mean, I did that last postseason, and it came back to bite. But this postseason is different than last postseason. I mean, they were so much healthier last postseason, and I mean this postseason it's a little bit different. But I mean, you got Mike Evans still, you got Gronk as well. But I mean, Leonard Fournette, he's questionable. Hopefully he gets back for the Bucs. That would help them a lot. And of course, Godwin, he's out for the season, and that's a brutal loss for Tom Brady in this offense. But looking at Cowboys and Niners, I'm going to go Niners here. That is my one upset of the wild card. And let me tell you guys, looking at statistics and stuff, 3 versus 6 games are definitely the games to watch out for upsets. In the past 5 years, we have seen at least one 3-seed lose. And in this situation, I think it's going to be Dallas. And this is, once again, very tough. It's either going to be the Bills or the Cowboys to go down. I mean, there's a chance that both Bills and Cowboys win, but it is unlikely according to stats. So I'm going to go Niners. I think the Niners are, I mean, that's a football team that I think some people are sleeping on here. And Dallas is a football team that, I mean, in the playoffs, they have struggled recently when they have gotten into the playoffs. So, I mean, Cowboys, they've got a good football team. They could certainly go on a run. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Cowboys potentially make a run at the NFC Championship. But I just don't know that Dallas, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. But I'm going to go Niners there, and they're going to proceed on to the divisional. And once again, I mean, that may be a prediction where you kind of are confused by it, but let me tell you guys, there's always something confusing in the NFL playoffs. There's always going to be a really surprising upset. It's just a matter of which game it's going to be. So do keep that in mind heading into the playoffs. And if you're going to be predicting all of the home teams to win in the wild card, I mean, more than likely it's not going to happen. So just keep that in mind. But Rams and Cardinals, I'm going to go Los Angeles there. That's a tough one too. Arizona being as good of a football team as they've been this season, it would be a huge disappointment to see them go out in the first round. But I am taking Rams over Cardinals there. Matt Stafford and his turnovers, I mean, that's been a bit of an issue, and he hasn't played quite as well in the past few weeks. But I'm going to go Matt Stafford and the Rams to get it done. They beat Arizona and proceed on. Looking at your divisional round here, we got Titans and Bengals starting up at the top of the AFC. I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I just feel like the Bengals, Joe Burrow, this is their season, and they have played they've played very well. And I feel like Bengals, I mean, they have been a bit inconsistent at times, but so have Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's had some pretty terrible games as well. So, I mean, you could say it about both teams. But Bengals, I like this football team. And honestly, this playoff situation sets up perfectly for them to get to the AFC Championship. Like, they've got a higher chance than, I would say, the Bills or, I mean, the Chiefs have got a good chance as well. But for the Titans, I mean, Bengals have got a good chance, though. The way this playoff bracket sets up, they've got a very good chance to be in the AFC Championship game. So do keep that in mind there. And then as for Chiefs and Bills rematch of last year's AFC Championship, I'm going to go Kansas City here to knock off Buffalo and proceed on. Once again, Pat Mahomes, hard to go against them. And I feel like this is, I mean, they've got a tremendous amount of talent. And even though they haven't been quite as dominant in the regular season as they have been in the past couple of years, I still feel like they're still an excellent football team, and they're going to move on to your conference championship round. Packers and Niners, looking at that game, of course, I mean, the Packers have had a little bit of trouble with the Niners in the past, but Green Bay, of course, Aaron Rodgers, I really do think this is Rodgers' season, and we've seen, I mean, of course, the Packers, they have struggled a lot. Getting to the NFC Championship game has been no problem for the Packers in the past couple of years, but, I mean, of course, if you look at the past 2 years for the Packers, lost to the Niners in the 2019 NFC Championship, and then lost to the Buccaneers last season, and that was in Lambeau as well, so do keep that in mind. But Green Bay, can't go against them right now. I'm going to go with the Packers to beat the Niners. San Francisco, good football team, but I do think that the Niners beat Dallas, but I think that's it for them, and they won't move past there. And looking at Bucs and Rams, also another tough one. Rams could definitely win that game, but Tom Brady, of course, I mean, we did see the Rams, they did beat the Bucs back earlier in the season by a decent margin, but Bucs this time around, Tom Brady once again in the playoffs. I mean, it's a brutal out, and I feel like the Bucs do get the win there in the end. They beat the Rams, and Los Angeles just a little bit too inconsistent for me. I mean, they're a football team that Certainly he's got tremendous amounts of talent. Matt Stafford, I feel like, has been beneficial for this football team. He is better than Jared Goff, but and we'll see how they do in the future. I feel like the future for the Rams is very bright. They're going to win a Super Bowl here within the next 5-10 years. The Rams just have a bright future, and Matt Stafford, I feel like, is the guy. But of course, a few inconsistencies down the stretch have been a struggle for the Rams. But Bucs do have them moving on to the conference championship, and we'll see a rematch between Packers and Bucs in your NFC championship game. But looking at the AFC championship, we got Bengals and Chiefs there, Cincinnati and Kansas in Kansas City there, and that's going to be quite a matchup. Seeing Cincinnati, that team was a bottom feeder only a couple of seasons ago, even last year when Joe Burrow went down. But Bengals, they've had a phenomenal season. That would be a huge achievement if they were to get to the conference championship. But Chiefs, I'm much more confident in Kansas City right now, and I feel like they're the team that ends up winning the AFC championship, and they proceed on to their third Super Bowl in a row. And as for Packers and Bucs, rematch of last year's conference championship, and we know how that went. Bucs did beat the Packers last year, but this time around, Packers get the win. Aaron Rodgers once again. I just don't know if I can go against him right now, and I feel like this is Aaron Rodgers' year. He has played excellent down the stretch, and yeah, it's a tough one there. Tom Brady, it's hard to go against him, but I feel like Packers in the end. Green Bay, I think this is their year, so they proceed on to the Super Bowl, and they're going to play Kansas City. And honestly, this would be quite a matchup here, Pat Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. And we did see Green Bay play Kansas City back earlier in the season, but of course, Kansas City had their starters in, but Packers, of course, were bitten by COVID there in that matchup, and we only saw Jordan Love start there. But this would be quite a matchup, and I feel like we would see a higher scoring matchup here if Chiefs and Packers got to the Super Bowl. And it would be a phenomenal matchup if it were to happen. And that being said, here's what I got for my prediction for the Super Bowl. Green Bay Packers, your Super Bowl champions for this 2021 through 22 NFL season. Just the way this offense is built right now, their offense has only been getting better. And Aaron Rodgers down the stretch, he's an experienced quarterback. And they have, in the NFC Championship, that has been a struggle for them in the past. But if they can get past that hump, I feel like they're smooth sailing into the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs, brutal opponent, and Pat Mahomes, of course, been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years in a row. So there's no denying that. This entire Chiefs football team has got a tremendous amount of experience going into it. But the Packers, once again, if you look at this defense, the defense has only gotten better as well. If their defense continues to play well going into the playoffs, and the Packers down the stretch as well. If you look at them, the past month of action or so, they've played. Their December and into January was excellent. So that's definitely something to mention there. And that being said, that's going to wrap it up for my NFL playoff predictions for this 2021 through 22 NFL season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this NFL playoffs, and obviously you guys are going to disagree with this. There is a chance that some of you guys have the same combination, but it is unlikely. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though, on what my bracket looks like, and let me know your thoughts as to who you think will win the Super Bowl as well. Appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.